So, so I'm here with my friend Pam. We met back in Taiwan in 2019.
Yep.
So today we're gonna test out the age-old question of, does milk tea go with alcohol? Yeah, late 2019, and I often get asked about my Taiwan experience, and one big question is like, how did you make friends? So we're friends. If you want to talk about like how we met, and then also how you met friends and what your experience was.
Sure. We had a Facebook group, language exchange. It was basically a group for people who lived in Taiwan who wanted to learn different languages, and people who spoke different languages that were visiting Taiwan and wanted to learn Chinese. So like obviously the most common combination was people in Taiwan who wanted to learn English and people who spoke English who wanted to learn Taiwanese. So I used that to find friends. I basically made a post saying, hi, I'm from Boston and I'm in Taiwan for like 4 or 5 months and want to get better at speaking Chinese, and posted and was like, does anyone else want to learn English? And got responses, and that's how I found a lot of my local Taiwan friends. And then Jacky posted in the group as like the same as me from America, wanted to learn Taiwanese, as well as this other girl, Cindy. I don't know.
We met through a girl named Cindy who is also American, also spoke English and wanted to learn Chinese.
Asian American, but I also met them that way. And we're like, we're also just American and want friends that we feel comfortable with, that we don't have to like only speak Chinese with. So we met up that way. But that is how I met most of my friends in Taiwan. And I also had an internship at a lab, so I also hung out with my coworkers at the lab a lot. I was like 6 people that were just kind of given to me as friends, but that was the main way that I like made friends intentionally.
Yeah, and I feel like with your coworkers it was a little different, right? It's like one, you'd see them basically every day while you're working there. And I think the other big thing, like in the difference between those two groups, is like Cindy and I are American, and then we like speak English for most. Pam says we spoke Chinese for a lot of the time. I don't remember this.
We were trying to get better.
When we were learning one-on-one, I think I was pretty hardo about like maintaining Mandarin only sometimes. But yeah, like what was it like hanging out with your coworkers? Because I know for you, that was sometimes a little challenging because it was like entirely Mandarin, right?
I actually had one coworker who is from the Philippines. And he could speak like 6 different languages, and he basically spoke English perfectly.
That I did
so
not
that
know.
helped a lot, but the other 5 didn't speak hardly any English, like worse than someone like my parents who were like just they could barely hold a conversation in English. So it was primarily speaking Chinese with them, but the fact that I had one person there who could speak English in case there was ever a bind was really helpful. But like I wasn't with him, that one coworker in particular, the entire time. So there was obviously times where he wasn't there, had to speak Chinese, but that helped a lot in terms of figuring out new phrases that I wasn't familiar with. The speed at which people speak Chinese, like 2 native speakers, is way different than my parents speaking Chinese to me at home, knowing that I'm not great at Chinese. Like you just have to like learn how to adapt and keep up way more, because when they're talking to each other, it's not, I want to understand. Like I'm part of the conversation, but like you want to understand what they're talking about. But yeah, really fun. We used to go on like runs and stuff, like the 6 of us after work, around the Chiang Kai-shek Memorial. And the park.
Yeah, I'll put a photo of that one. It's actually like a really, really nice place. It's like, I know something that we talked about on the way here as well, because you're in Taiwan for like 3 months about. Yeah. And like we were talking about the differences in making friends when you're a girl studying abroad versus like when you're a guy, right? You want to talk a little bit about that?
If you're a girl and you post on the language exchange, especially if you're a girl who speaks English, there's going to be a lot of responses from men. I personally was like not about to make a man my like study partner in Taiwan, in a country that was foreign to me. So I only picked out the girls that like I thought I might be friends with to like hang out with and meet in person. So I can't say if I had picked a man if it would have gone poorly. And Taiwan is a safe country, so I don't think I hope it wouldn't be bad or anything like that. But I did just like shy away from it, just like instinctually. It wasn't a rule I made for myself. But yeah, definitely something to look out for. There was like the amount of people that responded to me was like 70% men, 30% women.
Usually older too, or hard to tell.
Kind of hard to tell. Probably in their like early 30s and 20s. It's hard to suss out what people's intentions are, but like for female, I don't know, it seemed more genuine to me that they just kind of wanted to learn English. And I met up with like 4 to 5 people from that, excluding like Jacky and Cindy, like 4 to 5 people who lived in Taiwan, all girls, and they were all like genuinely trying to learn English for some reason. Like one of the girls was training or like studying to be a flight attendant, which is like kind of a coveted job in Asia, and you need to be able to speak English pretty well to pass the test. So that was like one of the reasons that she wanted to learn English, like stuff like that. So genuinely want to get better at their English speaking, and they were cool.
Yeah. So I know that's something that I've talked about before too, is like I made a lot of friends through the language exchange group. And for me, at least, it started out where we actually did try to do an exchange and we'd like use a mix of English and Chinese. And then eventually we all just merged into using Chinese. And I'm thinking of like 2 friends in particular where like we didn't really use English anymore after like the 3rd time. Because eventually it just wasn't a language exchange friend. It was just we were friends and now we're just hanging out and like doing things.
Mine was like, I had a couple. So basically I'm thinking of...
You want to hold this? My arm's getting tired.
Fine. I'm thinking of, I made like 3 pretty good friends in total. One of them, we spoke all in Chinese. Another one, we kind of had a mix because her English was like pretty good. So we would like kind of bounce back and forth. And then the model, we spoke mostly in English because her English was like pretty good. So it kind of just depends on the person. But I guess for you it was... for you it was mostly Chinese.
Yeah. Cool. I think that's it.
Nice.
I think we've covered everything, unless there are other things you want to talk about in terms of like general like friendships while studying abroad.
No, in general, the amount of friends I had in Taiwan is like nowhere near the amount of friends I had in America. Like there's no friend group and stuff like that. And it's mostly because I went alone for an internship, not for school. And you don't just get friends built in. But I feel like the people there are really genuine and like making friends with Americans or foreigners probably in general. So it was really easy to make good friends quickly, but just I didn't have like a ton of friends that I kind of knew. It was like 6 good friends in Taiwan, and it was great for my 4 months.
Yeah. I think I felt something similar to that. You had your core group of friends through your coworkers. And then for me, the kind of core group, like you met Bjorn and everyone else, like it was definitely classmates and we would hang out afterwards. Sad part and difficult part, I think, is every semester people would basically rotate out. So every 3 months, I'd find myself thinking like, well, shit, like it's kind of sad actually. Like you were there for 3 months too only.
Yeah.
And after that first semester, like got really close to like Bjorn and Shuhei. It's pretty sad when they left. Then, you start over, you have like the new classmates and they're fun too. But I felt like that was something I didn't really experience in America. Like you graduate, sure, but like happens every 4 years. Whereas when I was living abroad there, everything felt very temporal in a very explicit way. And besides like kind of the core group of classmates every 3 months, everything else was kind of a one-off friendship or like people that I'd meet in one-on-one settings. And there was no, like to your point, core default friend group in a way that you might have when you're living in the US and you already know people who live there, like in New York, right?
Yeah. Definitely.
One last question for you.
Okay.
So, I'm deciding which one I want to ask.
Okay, you can ask 2.
First one is, did you ever feel lonely while you were in Taiwan?
I want to say no, but I am someone who is fine spending like a lot of time alone and doing things alone. Like I did a lot of day trips by myself in Taiwan, which I was very happy to do, and I probably could have found someone to do them with, and I just kind of didn't. So I would say no, but I could see other people who function differently than myself feeling lonely. I think it was very much my like I didn't know anyone going in really, so, and my job had people there, but it wasn't like a school where everyone comes in, no one knows anyone, they're all trying to make friends. It was like, they kind of already have their lives in Taiwan. They're not going to hang out with me all the time they have other friends and stuff. So no for myself, but like maybe someone else who needs to spend more time with other people than I do.
And the last question is, it's been 3 years basically since you've been back. I don't think either of us have been back since then, right?
Yeah.
What do you miss the most?
Oh my god. I really like the people in Taiwan. They're also very nice people. Like if you stop on the street and ask someone for help, they will genuinely help. It wasn't what's his name? Sander?
Sanders?
Yeah, that story he told when he was like at the airport and some random woman helped him and brought him back to her house. Like not in like a
I
weird.
don't think I
like-
was there for that story.
You were definitely.
When we were hiking, I did not remember that
No, we were
story.
sitting at the. We got dinner afterwards, and he was basically like this random woman and her child. Basically, I think something happened with his housing, something like that. But basically, she just like took him in for a couple nights and like gave him a bunch of like recommendations and suggestions, and then just sent him off. They like foreigners there, in my opinion. They just like to help. Some of the friendliest people you will meet. So I miss that because in New York City, yeah, people are not very nice sometimes.
Completely different atmosphere here.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm glad we've stayed friends for 3 years. From 4 years, yeah. Language exchange group. Okay. Cool. Well, thanks, Pam.
Thank you.
That was so formal. Oh, thank you.